Bienvenidos al ciclo de charlas internacionales de la Feria de Movilidad Académica 2022, organizada por la Dirección de Internacionalización de la Universidad de los Andes. Esta charla será realizada en inglés por parte de nuestro socio y se espera que ustedes también participen en inglés. Well, I would like to welcome everybody to our international talks, which was organized by the Office of International Affairs of Uniandes Our Mobility Fair of 2022. These international talks are going to be organized with several partners in August, September, and October as well. Today we have Shandin Ricard Hughes, who is the Global Opportunities Officer of Incoming Students at University of Bristol. With this university, we have a, we have a partnership open. And we are going to have a 20-minute lecture or so, and then we will have time for us to answer questions that you may have. If you need to, if you want to, you can use the Q&A chat to do your question, ask your questions. Or if you want, you can raise your hand and I will open the mic or the camera for you to talk directly to Shandin. Okay? Okay, Shandin, they're all yours.
Thank you, Anna. Hi, my name is Shandin. I work at the Study Abroad office at the University of Bristol. So I am one of the Global Opportunities incoming officers, which means that I work directly to support our incoming study abroad exchange students, including those from Uniandes. So I'm very excited to be here. This is my first talk to your institution, and I do very much hope that I can welcome you to Bristol in the near future. So I'm not going to give you a very long presentation here, just 20 minutes or so, as Anna said, to go over some of the basics about the University of Bristol that may be of interest to you. I'm going to touch a little bit on the city of Bristol, the university, accommodation, student life, and of course, leave lots of time for your questions. After the presentation, I will also flip my screen over to my browser. And I'm going to show you some of the web pages that are really important for finding more information about all the really, really important aspects of studying abroad at Bristol. So you can look forward to sort of seeing those so I can show you around those pages. Okay, so jumping right in, to give you a really brief overview of Bristol in numbers. These are some of the things that might be of interest to those who really like to sort of know about a university from the rankings. So Bristol is quite a prestigious university in the UK. We are top 5 in the UK for research in the most recent REF rankings. We are top 10 in the UK in the QS World Rankings and 61st in the world from the most recent QS rankings. So we do pride ourselves on being a very, a world-class research-led university. We have 26 subjects that are in the top 100 as well. So not only is the university quite high in the rankings, but most of our subjects across the university individually rank quite highly as well. We're also quite proud to have 13 Nobel Prize winners in our alumni network. A little bit about our history. So the university was established in 1876 as University College Bristol, so quite a long history within the city of Bristol. And we are very proud to have been the first higher education institute in England to admit women on the same basis as men. Bristol is a city that through the ages has been a place where people really fight for human rights. So Bristol was also at the forefront of abolishing the slave trade as well. So this is something that's really iconic about Bristol, is people fight for equality in the city. We are a member of the Russell Group, which is 24 research-intensive world-class UK universities. And so we link in with these other 23 universities to really sort of campaign for great scientific and arts research and funding and things within the UK. And we are also the first university to declare a climate emergency, which we declared in 2019. This is very important to the University of Bristol, and we do make every effort to sort of adapt and become as sustainable a university as we can. Our student community is very diverse. So this is something that really makes makes the experience of Bristol fantastic. We welcome students from over 150 countries around the world, and over a quarter, over 25% of our student population is international, so students from outside of the UK. Not only is our student population very diverse, but the city of Bristol is very diverse as well. So when you live here, when you're walking down the street, you're going to see people from very many walks of life. And we have so many different shops and restaurants and cafes that really represent quite a large variety of people and interests. And it's kind of a weird, wonderful place that almost everyone can sort of come here and just immediately feel welcome and at home and able to be themselves, which is one of the reasons that I love Bristol so much. So a little bit more about the city now, and hopefully some images that really give you an impression of the city. Bristol is quite interesting in its location. It's on the River Avon, and this city sort of runs, or this river runs right through the city. So Bristol is very close to the coast, but it's also a fantastic urban landscape. So sort of on the far left, you can see another image of the harbor side. This is right at the heart of Bristol, and it's a very vibrant area of the city with loads of restaurants and cafes and bars and shops, as well as some fantastic museums, art museums, science museums, and sort of Bristol city life museums. So a really, really vibrant place. The picture in the middle is one view looking down from the campus. So the University of Bristol campus is right at the sort of north center of the city, and again is a very, very vibrant area. The university is placed such that it's sort of mixed into a lot of the city streets, which is lovely for the environment, because it means that when you step out of class, you're immediately sort of on a buzzing street, and you can see people, you know, just going about their day, people who work for the university, students, and people from outside of the university, all sort of sitting down at tables and chairs outside of cafes, all talking. And so it's a really, really nice, buzzy area to be. This shows you the location. So this map is really quite useful for orienting where Bristol is in the UK. So you can see the large sort of purple-blue dot is Bristol. And as I mentioned, we're on the River Avon. So that's what that water inlet is. That comes from the sea up through Bristol. We're only sort of an hour and 20 minutes from London by train, so very, very useful transportation links all over the country. Very easy to get here. We have our own international airport at Bristol, but we're also very easy to reach from London Heathrow and Gatwick as well. We are the UK's 8th largest city, so Bristol does have a good number of people, which means, you know, which contributes to that diversity and all the great stuff that you can see and do here day in and day out. But one of the things that we're really, really pleased about in Bristol as a community is our access to the countryside and the coastline as well. So students are able to easily go for a day trip down to the beach. You can get out into Lee Woods or these just fantastic open green spaces very close to the city centre. So speaking of the green spaces, you can see here that we have over 400 green spaces in the city. So we are reputed to be one of the greenest cities in the UK. We also rank really highly throughout Europe for our culture and activities. So we regularly get awards for being one of the sort of most exciting places to be. And we were ranked the best place to live outside of London by the BBC just before COVID hit. And you can really see that lots of young people from London actually moving over to Bristol because there's so much good stuff going on over here in the West. This is an idea of some of the things to do. Bristol has festivals throughout the year. This is the famous International Air Balloon Festival that you can see in the top picture. Some people paddle boarding on the river that runs through the city, and one of our many music festivals as well represented here. But in terms of art and culture, I mentioned that we have lots of great museums. We also have 2 fabulous theaters that get West End shows and independent shows. So if you're into theater, you'll get to see some great stuff at the Hippodrome and the Old Vic. Lots of festivals for food and drink, for music, for basically every interest under the sun. And just generally eating in Bristol is really great. I know the international team are actually working on pulling together a recommendation link so that students can start dropping in all of their favorite places to eat, so we can share that across the student community, which is going to be so great for international students. So you might, when you come here, you might immediately be able to find, you know, those little places that you can go for a taste of home, or somewhere where you can try something totally new. Just another note on the environment and the fact that we declared a climate emergency in 2019. It may be of interest to you that not only did the university take the climate emergency very seriously, but the city of Bristol has as well. So it was the first city in the UK to declare a climate emergency in 2018. And we were established as the green capital back in 2015. So again, this is something that is taken quite seriously in Bristol, and something that you'll see a lot about if you come here. So there are a lot of student events focused around this, but also a lot of research at the university centered around this global problem. So this is something that maybe you can get involved in as a student while you're here. I'm just going to show you a list of the faculties and schools. Thought this was probably easiest to give you a very quick glance at the subjects that we have available to you. I believe the students who registered today come from a broad mix of these faculties. Now, these are the faculties at the University of Bristol, but it sounds like we actually have very good overlap in terms of what the faculties are at Untitled. So we do have subjects taught in the arts, engineering, humanities, science, social sciences, and life sciences. And you can see a list of those specific subject areas under there. So I'll just leave that on the screen for a moment so you can try to find the closest sort of subject to you. It's worth noting for any students who might be coming to the university to study law or chemistry, that students studying law and chemistry must come for a full academic year. And that is because the units, the classes taught in those subject areas are taught over a full year, so they do not have individual semester classes. All of our other subject areas can accommodate students on a single semester basis. Okay, so I'm going to give you just a little bit of information about the study abroad program at Bristol, since we've covered the university itself and the city. So in terms of the study abroad office and the way that the programs function at University of Bristol, we have approximately 600 incoming study abroad students each year. And this is a mix of students who come for the full year or for a single semester. And these students are coming from all over the world. And they are obviously joining a much bigger international student cohort, those students who are coming here for a full degree. So again, we have over 25% of our student population is international, but only about 600 of those students are coming here on a study abroad basis, which means non-degree seeking, and you're planning to return home to your university. Our Uni-Andes Exchange allows you the opportunity to join us on our Study Abroad General Pathway program. So on our website, you will see the outline of the various programs that we have. And the big thing that distinguishes our programs is the general pathway or the subject pathway. So when you go onto our website, you want to look at information on the general pathway. This means that you are able to take classes from across the entire university. You are not bound to a particular faculty. So you must work with your home university study abroad office to ensure that the classes that you want to take at Bristol will fit into your academic plan and be approved at your home university. However, from our side at the University of Bristol, if you're on the general pathway, then we are very happy to register you on classes from across the whole university. So if you were studying arts and humanities, but there was one social science class that you were really interested in, then we would be happy to register you for that variety. Whereas the subject pathway students must stick only to their subject area. So hopefully that helps to explain it a little bit when you go to our website. Our study abroad students take classes alongside Bristol students. So you are not in separate classes. You will be in the classes that our degree seeking students take. And of course, My team, the Global Opportunities team, will support you from your application all the way through to registering for your classes, checking in with you throughout your time here, answering any questions or concerns that you have, and then even through to completion. So, making sure that you get your transcript and even any follow-up welfare and concerns that you might have. So we really are a full service team here for you when you're studying abroad. Just a note on what you can expect in terms of academics in the UK. I think it's quite important to think about this ahead of time to help prepare yourself to be successful when you study abroad. And if you're considering any other universities or even any other countries, it's a really good area of research into what does the actual academics look like at the university or the country that I'm going to. So in the UK, and at University of Bristol, it's worth noting that students have a lot of academic freedom here, and you have a very high degree of responsibility. So for each class that you register for, you will probably only go to class 1 or 2 days a week, maybe for an hour or 2 hours at a time. In all the other time that you're expected to dedicate to those classes, that's called self-study. So you will be expected to do the required reading, work on any projects that are assigned, and you're really going to be doing that in your own time. And so it requires students to have a good level of responsibility and motivation. So it's good to think about that in advance to make sure that you, have good study skills and put things in place for yourself to help make sure that you can stay on track when you come to a different academic area. So focus is on independent study. We have fewer contact hours, less continuous assessment. What that means is that we tend to give students 1 or 2 assignments for the entire semester, and that will make up your grade. And so students really are doing a lot of independent study, and then you might have sort of one exam or essay or group project in the middle of the semester and one at the end. And they might be split so that one of those is worth 25% and the other is worth 75%. All of this information is given to you at the beginning of the semester, but sometimes that's quite strange for students if you're used to having more regular quizzes or exams or essays. So that's something to think about. So excellent preparation and self-motivation will be required for you to be successful here. But I can tell you, because I looked back through our student records from Uni Andes before this, that all of our incoming students from your institution have done really well at Bristol. So I'm not worried. Okay, I just want to give you a few ideas about what our accommodation is like and what the situation will be for you coming to Bristol looking for accommodation. So all of our accommodation offers pastoral support and security services. So all of them have security at all times of day. Very safe. We haven't had any issues this past year with students other than maybe the fire alarm going off in the middle of the night, but no security issues. All of our student accommodations are very safe. They are run by the university. So that might be a little bit different from what you're used to at your home university. We have a range of different options to suit budgets and needs. So when you do apply for accommodation, and I'll show you that page so that you can see where to find types of accommodation. When you apply, you'll be able to put in your preference for what kind of accommodation you want. So that might be a single room, or it might be something where you're going to share space with a few more students if you want a more social experience. And things like that. So I'll show you where you can find that info later. All of our residences have lots of social activities. So we have something called Resi Life, Residential Life, and that's a very, very active group at the University of Bristol. So that means that students in your hall or your residential village will have lots of events made just for you, and that really helps students settle in and make friends in their residences. All of our accommodation, if you have university accommodation, includes a bus pass. So you will be able to use all the local buses to get to and from campus, but also all over the city. And we do have an accommodation guarantee for exchange students from partner institutions outside of Europe. So that would include you at Uni Andes. Now, the guarantee is for September entry only. We can't guarantee access to the accommodation in January. However, at this time for January 2023, so for this academic year, because of the number of incoming and outgoing exchange students, things do look really good for our non-Europe exchange students to get accommodation this January. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about January entry in a few minutes. This just gives you a little idea of where our accommodation villages sit. So we have 3 primary residential village locations. Now the gray area in the sort of middle of this, north of the river, that is the university campus area. So you can see the West Village is the turquoise out to the left, the East Village is the red out to the right, and the North Village is the purple, and that looks like it's really far away. It's above the green space north of the campus, but that is actually only about a 20-minute walk, and you get to walk through the lovely Clifton Downs, which is one of the most spectacular green spaces in the city, and is where a lot of our university events are held, like our big welcome fair and any outdoor like gigs or festivals that the university puts on. So that's a really great area to live. These are just some images to give you an idea of what the residences look like inside. And I wanted to draw your attention to a tool that I very much so recommend that you use on our website, and that is our virtual tour tool. So if you go to bristol.ac.uk/virtual-tour, then you will be able to not only tour our accommodation, but also buildings all over the campus. So if you have a look on our website and you can sort of figure out where faculties are based, then you can have a play around with this and you can basically tour the entire campus online. So that might be a really nice thing to do. I just have a little note on student life and well-being. I can also answer questions if you want to go into this in more detail. But something that we offer at University of Bristol, which is quite unique in the UK, is a global lounge. This was opened in 2019 and is a dedicated space on campus where international and home students are welcome to go and really celebrate diversity and international cultures all over the world. So that space holds weekly language cafes, which are very popular. We tend to get 100 to 200 students that go along to these language cafes. And that's where we'll have tables set up with the language sort of on a card. You can see in that picture, there's a Mandarin table, and we'll have a Spanish table every week as well. And so these are set up, and students who speak that language or students who are trying to learn that language can come and just chat. And it's completely informal, and it's just a really lovely environment. They also do breakfasts regularly, and they hold their own events, but they also celebrate lots of global holidays throughout the year, and they work with our student groups to do that. So for instance, the Chinese Student Society always holds a big Lunar New Year celebration, and the students in I'm forgetting what it's called. I think I'm going to mispronounce it, so I'm not going to go there. But anyway,
Dia de
our
los
student.
Muertos, maybe from Mexico.
No, it was
Oh,
it's
okay.
at the end of Ramadan, Eid al-Fitr.
Oh, yes.
I
Oh,
think that's
okay.
how you say it. Yeah.
Yes.
So our student societies also worked with the Global Lounge to host a fantastic dinner. There were like 150 people there, and the students got to talk about what Ramadan means, and they catered this enormous meal, and it was just really lovely event. So anyway, so it's a fantastic space that you will probably make use of. It's one of our study abroad students' absolute favorite things on campus. We also have the Bristol Students' Union, where we have more than 400 clubs and societies that you can join. And all of our students always feedback, get involved, go out and join a society. There's just so many things for so many different interest areas, and it's really easy to get involved. And people here tend to be really nice. So if you're just new to something and you want to give it a go, you absolutely can. So really great opportunities to get involved. So Anna will also be able to share this with you and answer any questions in more detail if you do choose to apply. But just to give you an idea of what the entry requirements are, if you do want to apply to Bristol, for us, you must have completed at least 1 year of study And I believe the Uniendi's requirement is actually 3 semesters, which Anna can, so she can confirm that. And we need a minimum average of 3.75 out of 5. And we also have English language requirements. Now, on the screen here, the IELTS requirement of 6.5 is listed. However, we do have a huge variety of different English language qualifications that we can accept. And there is a link on the screen here where you can see just how many different options you have. So it could be TOEFL, it could be a Cambridge certificate. So there's lots of opportunities for you to evidence your English language. So if you are interested in applying, quite an easy 4 steps. It's always a little bit more complicated than that, isn't it? But if you are interested in applying, the first thing you should do is your research. I'm going to show you some of those important web pages. Anna and her team can also help you if you have any questions, but definitely make sure you spend a good amount of time online looking at our programs, making sure you meet the entry requirements, and checking out what types of classes you'd be able to take here to make sure it's a good fit for you. The second thing you need to do is talk to your home institution. So that's Anna and her team. You need to let them know that you want to apply to University of Bristol because we require a nomination from Uniendi's for you to come here. So you must be nominated to come for a semester or a year. Once you're nominated, we will send you the application instructions by email. If you're interested in applying for January 2023, our application deadline is October 16th this year. So October 16th, 2022 to apply for January entry. Now, this still gives you plenty of time to get your nomination in and make your application. So if you have any questions about that and you want to talk a little bit more about Bristol, I'm also very happy for you to contact us so we can tell you a little bit more about the city and the university. But the best thing to do is to go to the mobility office at Uniendi's and start talking to them about January 2023. If you're interested in coming here in the autumn, so September, or coming for a full year, then the deadline to apply will be in late May 2023. So you have loads of time to consider that. We don't have a specific date set yet for that, but it will be in late May in 2023 for fall 2023. Once you've applied and you get your offer from us, we need you to accept your offer before you can take the next steps, things like applying for accommodation and your student visa to come here. Just a note on the visa, though, students who are only coming for 1 semester may not need a full student visa. So I just don't want anyone to sort of panic thinking, oh, I didn't think I needed one. So if you're only coming for 1 semester, you might not, but those coming for a year will. And we will give you loads of support along the way. So our team does help students specifically with the student visa side. So with that, I'd love to open it up for any questions that you might have. And you can see here on the screen our email address. So that will reach my team, me or one of the other officers in the team. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. You can also see the link to the Study Abroad website and our Instagram handle. So if you'd like to follow us on there. And I'm just going to leave that up for one more second as Anna sees if there's any questions. And then I'm going to switch over to show you those web pages that I have open.
Yeah, so if you want to ask any questions, you can use the questions and answer button that you will find in the toolbox. I already wrote like an introduction to your questions and answers. So if you want to use that, you can do it. Or if you want to speak directly to Shandin, you can raise your hand by the reactions. Then you will find a levantar la mano, or you can press Control Majus K, and there you have it. And for questions, I do have some questions that I think are common for our students. So when you mentioned the several ways in which our students can prove that they have the language requirement, they usually do have them, but they have them. I mean, they usually it is usually older than 2 years old.
Mm.
So I understand it's important for them to have them no more than 2 years old, taken no more than 2 years old. Right,
Mhm.
I go, right?
Yes, for the majority of them, that is true. And if can you see my web page, Anna?
Yes, I
Yes,
can see
brilliant.
it.
Okay. So on our study abroad programs page, so if you follow the link that I had in the presentation, so you can just search study abroad at University of Bristol. The programs page on the left-hand side, you can see entry requirements. So if I click there, you can see under English language requirements, other accepted qualifications. And this is where you're going to see that enormous list of possibilities. And students really do tend to apply with a really wide range. So we see, over 100, probably 100 different qualifications. Under English language proficiency tests, which is the most common, so that's like IELTS or
Mhm.
TOEFL,
Yes.
you will see at the top that for those proficiency tests, we must have them no more than 2 years after the test was taken. So you must have taken the test no more than 2 years before you would start your program at Bristol. So
Great.
that means, if you were to start in September 2023, then it couldn't be any older than September 2021.
Great.
Now, if students were coming from a slightly different type of qualification, there are some students will take the international GCE, GCSE, or an international A level, or the international baccalaureate. If you look at the top here, it says these are allowed to be 7 years
Okay.
old.
Yes.
So it
Great.
really depends on what students have. But yeah, make sure that you pay attention to that, because unfortunately, if you're going to start in September and your IELTS or other English language proficiency test will be out of date, then we must have you retake it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's important for us as well because when we check your applications to us, to our internal call, if you don't meet the requirements, even though you may have the scores and the bands and everything, I mean, it's perfect. If your test is older than what our partner is saying or is asking, we are so sorry, but we decline or just reject your application, okay, for this university because you do not comply with the requirements, the language requirements. So just to make sure, if you want to ask any questions, you can use the questions and answer or preguntas y respuestas from the toolbox. And if you want to talk directly to Shandine and ask her any questions, you can also raise your hand by using reacciones. Okay. Another question that I have is that you show us the faculties that or the programs that you have at Bristol University. However, and you talked about that they can apply to different subjects, in different faculties, that they do not have to bound themselves to just one faculty, which is amazing. In the end, this is just like that as well. So
Mhm.
they're used to do this. However, I had a question about that, and it's all the programs that you show us are, I mean, they don't have any restrictions apart from law and microbiology. That I
Law
heard
and
that is
chemistry.
1 year exchange, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But they don't have restrictions in terms of you can take certain subjects or you can apply for these specific program.
So some faculties will have certain classes that aren't open, and that might be because they have too many degree-seeking students that must take a particular class, or they have classes that have too many prerequisite requirements. So students must have taken a certain, like this class this year, followed by this class, followed by this class, which means that our study abroad students just won't be able to demonstrate the same knowledge. So there are some classes that are not available. Now, within certain faculties, there are very few restrictions, but for instance, in computing, so not only is that restricted to 1 year exchange, but also within that, students are only able to take classes in year 3. So our degree programs are all 3 years. So students, study abroad students can take units or classes in year 1, year 2, or year 3. But in computing, they only open their 3rd year classes. And so those are quite advanced. And for that reason, we are only able to allow students to take computing classes if that is what they actually major in. So they must have at least 2 years of experience, or else they won't be able to be successful. So that's really just us trying to ensure that students will be able to be successful in whichever classes they want to register for. In all other subjects, there's really a lot more flexibility. And actually, one of the pages that I have open to show you is our subjects and study guides pages. So if you see here, it says study abroad programs at Bristol, and you sort of scroll down below entry requirements, there's subjects and study guides, and that's right under how to choose your units. So units is the word that we use for classes here at Bristol. And if you click on subjects and study guides, you're going to get the list of all the different individual subjects. So this isn't our faculties, these are all the individual subjects. So we have several students here who are in arts and humanities. So I'll choose one of those. So I'm just going to scroll down and look at history. So if you look at history, it has a little bit of information about the faculty, and then you can click on the history study guide. Now, this is for 2022-23. So this information is valid for the first semester, which obviously isn't available to apply for anymore. But for the second semester, January 2023 entry, the information is available. And for 2023-24, we will have this information available around April for the next academic year. And this is where, by subject area, students can see in detail any restrictions. So you can see like study abroad subject pathway restrictions. You can see, any note from that faculty. So really a lot of information. And then by year, we have listed all of the classes that are available to our study abroad students. And it says TB1 or TB2. So I don't know if you can see that highlighted, but yes. So that's listed alongside the course code and the title of that class. Now, if students are looking at that and they think, okay, I'd be really interested in this class, Remembering Transatlantic Enslavement, you can take this course code to get more detail about it. So this is just the list of classes that's available to our study abroad students. But we also have, and I'm going to go to it the quick way for the sake of showing this to you, but it's easily found on our website. You can go to the unit catalog and use that course code to see the detailed information about that class. So you can see how many credits it's worth. You can see what weeks it's being taught in the academic calendar, and very good detail in the learning objectives, how it's going to be assessed. So this is a good example of what I was talking about before. In this particular class, you have one 3,500 word essay worth 50%. That'll be in the middle of the semester, and one timed test worth 50% at the end of the semester. So you can see all of that, in advance. So it gives you really great tools to ensure that you're picking the classes that you're interested in. So I hope that that's helpful.
Yeah, very helpful.
Do you have
yes.
Do you have any follow-up questions on that piece, Anna? Because I also wanted to briefly show the accommodation information.
Oh, accommodation information is well. I mean, I don't have any questions about this.
So just so that students know how to find the information on the website, if you go to accommodation/study abroad, this is a dedicated page for study abroad students. where we have there's a huge amount of information about accommodation for our students, but we've sort of, condensed it down into this really helpful page for our study abroad students. So if you go here, you can read about our accommodation guarantee. So for UniAndy students, this would be exchange students from institutions outside of Europe. And you are guaranteed an offer for September entry. We cannot guarantee an offer for January, but we do aim to place as many students as possible. As I said, coming into this year currently, with the number of students who will be leaving in January after the first semester, you have very good likelihood of getting into university residences. And then it tells you all the term dates, the application dates, lots of detailed information for study abroad students. And then you can also find on the accommodation pages that detailed info about which types of rooms are available. So this explains to you the difference between the types of rooms. You can see a picture example, and you can see sort of a floor plan example. So again, you really have a lot of resources here to make sure that when you do apply for accommodation, you are able to apply for the type of accommodation that's going to be right for you. And also on this page is the link to the accommodation fees section. So again, very transparent. You can find all this information really easily. But when you get to this point, after you've applied to study and you've accepted an offer from us, we are also on hand to answer any questions. If there is anything you can't find or anything that you're concerned about, our team is more than happy to help. Are there any other questions or any other areas that I should explain a little more?
They have no questions. I
That's
said in
okay.
my
It's
email
very
that they
early.
have lots of questions, but apparently they don't right now. Okay. I have another question. Oh, well, no, not a question, but I want to explain a little bit to our students how the process will be from, starting from our internal call. So the internal call for spring 2023 is already closed. We are about to nominate some students. And we are right now we have opened the internal call for fall 2023. So if you want to apply for that specific semester, you can do it. If you want to apply, for example, for law school, you need to do it this semester, so we can accommodate you, because normally our a semester exchanges are just a semester. We don't allow students to do a whole year. However, since this is a requirement from our partner, we allow law students to take a year of the exchange semester, the exchange year at Bristol. So if you want to apply as a law student, you need to do it in the internal call for the fall, or the one that ends in 20. So 2023, that it's in 20. And apart from that, after you apply to us, you need to apply and to follow our dates. For example, our internal call closes on October the 19th, so you need to be careful, send your application on time. If you do not send your application, we are not going to read your application, and it's going to be rejected as a whole. After that, you are going to know if you have a spot for the Bristol University by the end of this year, approximately. And after that, we're going to start all the process that Shindy was talking about. Maybe it's going to be next year from January. All the process of applying to the university, of nomination, stuff like that. But first, you need to come through us, and you need to apply for our internal calls, and you need to get the spot. You just, you can just apply and expect you're going to go to Bristol University right away. You need to, this is the competence. So you need to apply first through us. Okay. And okay, they don't have any more questions. So if you have any questions, Shandine, if you, I don't know if you could share with us the emails in which you can answer. their questions, or if they want to follow you on Instagram, I mean the international handle, that will be helpful as well.
Yes, so I've put the slide back up that has
Yeah.
the email address for our team.
Okay.
So that's
Amazing.
global opportunities at bristol.ac.uk.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, am I able to drop something in the Q&A or the chat that they can get? Because
I
I can,
opened the chat right now, and if you want, I can do it. I know another thing is that you're going to have this recording available. And not only that, but you're going to also have all the links and the presentation that she showed us available on our website. So let me just show where you can find it on our website. So here you have our website here, and here is our internal call. It says it closes on October the 19th, and you go to internacionalización.uniandes.edu.co and you click on Movilidad Académica and then Nuestros Convenios. And from there, you just search Bristol, and there you have the university. And you have the fact sheet 22 23 for that year. It's updated. It also says, for example, the thing about law school students is also here under restrictions, and you can find all the information that she gave us today here. Okay, here is where you're going to find it, and that will be all.
brilliant. What a great tool.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So thank you so much for being here. I don't know how late that is in the UK, but thank you so much.
No problem. No, it's been
Yeah,
really great. Thank you for inviting us, and it was really lovely to do this talk. And I really hope to see, hope to see some of your students in Bristol.
yeah,
If you have nominations coming, then it sounds like we'll be working together on some students joining us in the spring. So that's fantastic.
yeah. We have some nominations coming, and I'm sure we'll have some for the next fall as well.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Thank
okay.
you.
So thank you so much, and thank you guys for being here, for attending this talk. I know it can be frightening, but don't worry. You can ask as many questions. We're going to have many more. For example, in the afternoon, we have the Tecnológico de Monterrey, which is a very amazing and exciting university in Mexico. So you're more than welcome to join us then. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm going to end this meeting.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.